Hello, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk. I guess I created a new show in place of our, I guess I would call it our brother channel, Arsenal Fan Circle, Raise Away. So I decided, we'll do a show and we'll chat about. I guess we'll chat about football. We'll probably talk about the Arsenal match. Just for those who just finished watching the last game of the season or weekend, you just saw Liverpool and Luton play a really good game, and Luton not able to hold on to the lead, and Luis Diaz actually scoring a goal, which is symbolic of this thing of football is just really small in the. It's a really small thing. It's not a big thing. There's a lot of things going on in the world that are a lot bigger than football. Luis Diaz scoring it and then putting a shirt up saying "freedom" for his father. Yeah, that's kind of what's going on here. Football is our getaway from the life's craziness. We cheer it, we scream, we cry, and all of that. But bigger things are going on. So that's what that did for me. We'll get into. I got some guests in the back room. We'll be right back after this little intro. Talk to you then. DWTT coming here. Damn right. All right. Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. Let me know if you can't. But welcome everybody to the show. We've got, I'll wait for Spencer to join because I don't see him. But we've got Tony. Tony, can you hear me? You're muted right now. You need to unmute. I haven't muted you, but you look muted, my man.
There we go.
All right. Say something.
Something.
I still can't hear you. Oh boy, it's gonna be one of those shows. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me. I think I could hear my audio was working. I think I just checked to see if the show was going, and it seemed to be going all right. Yeah, the audio from my intro is working, but I can't hear Tony. So here we go. So it's gonna be that kind of a show. Yeah, I did this at the last moment, and I would just like to say everybody's probably trying to get their stuff going. Oh, you've got the headphones in. You can hear Tony, but I cannot. That's weird. That is really strange.
Why do we always have
Why
these
can I
weird
not hear
problems?
Tony? You know what? Maybe it is. Maybe it's just, maybe it's a setting on my side. Just a second. Let me test it. Okay, yeah, it is a setting on my side. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. All right, so let's see. Tony, can I?
Can I hear you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. All right. So the audio problems were mine. And now I can hear Tony, but he's gone. So I don't know what happened there. So this is oh cool what happened. So now I can't see Tony, but I can hear him. So yeah, it's that kind of a show. We got also joining us. We've got Spencer is in the house. Spencer, how are you doing?
I'm good. This is what I assume the inside of VAR looks like.
The inside, yeah, definitely. They don't hear any. They don't hear anything. They don't see anything. Basically, they are trying to talk to each other, and nothing's coming through on the other end. So yeah, you just experienced VAR. So let's see if Tony, you still there?
I'm still here.
All right, but we can't see you now, so I don't know if that's on purpose.
Nope.
Okay, that's not on purpose. So yeah. So let's get into it. Let's start. Oh, now I can see you. Can I hear you? Tony, you gonna say something? Tony, say something. You're not gonna talk? Can you not hear us? Ay. All right, it's one of those things. Now he's gone. When you come on, just say something so we can hear you. Hopefully, you've got Big Gunners in the house. Welcome to the show. All right, so let's get into it. Now I can't hear Tony. I can see him. I see the one or the other, I guess.
You can't hear and see me?
Now I can hear and see you. You weren't talking because I didn't see your mouth move. So I don't know if you heard me, but you weren't talking when I was asking you to talk. So maybe that's all. Are we good now?
The beats in my ears were playing music instead of you, so who knows?
Yeah.
Gremlins.
I hear you. I hear you. I don't. You know what? I didn't know. Well, we'll get into. I guess we'll start. We'll start. Let's talk. Stefan, welcome to the show. I mean, we're I guess a lot of people. Why not just start where everybody wants to start? VAR, huh? I didn't know this VAR an issue in the Liverpool match. So I don't know which scenario, what actually happened in the Liverpool match where VAR would have been was used. Did you guys see the game today?
I turned it off about 70 minutes to turn on 7 hours of uninterrupted football. So I'm outside working in the yard doing the Christmas light stuff. So I only have one TV out there, but I was watching some NFL stuff. But so far I was watching, I was like, man, like if Luton could pull this off and draw with them, takes a little heat off of our fan base. You know, at least we lost to Newcastle, right? Not tied to Luton.
Very,
So,
very true. They almost lost to Luton. You gotta play all the way through the tape, but you can't. And look who's in the background as well. He's happy for some reason. I mean, probably the only guy who actually got the 3 points this week.
He's happy that he got 8 out of 8 on the wrestling show yesterday.
8 out of 8 on the wrestling show. Is that why he's happy? He's not happy for Leeds win.
It's been a good weekend. It's been a profitable weekend. Yeah. Points left, right, and centre.
Cool. Yeah. You know, we got a full house today, so I'm gonna intro everybody, and then we're gonna let everybody talk. It's called Let's Talk. Everybody will get their say. We'll kind of do a round robin like we usually do, and we'll go from there. But next up, joining us, we've got the one Sam Greenwood. Yeah. Not Lord Greenwood. That's a different person.
What are you doing?
You may have heard of him, but Lord Greenwood is not here today. He only works weekends, it seems. So there you go, Sam. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Thanks, Gary. How's everyone doing?
Doing good. I think. Oh, I'm doing good. What about you guys?
Shit, Sam.
Let me just ask you, Tom. Let me just ask you straight out of the box here, Tom. Did you watch the Newcastle Arsenal game?
You know damn well I was watching wrestling.
So why are you here?
Because Gary sent me the link.
Okay, fair enough.
I've got another friend in the back. When he puts his face on, I'll let him join unless he tells me there's no face today. So we should have a full house. We'll let everybody chat. I think we want to see everybody's face. So when you're ready, you in the back, you know who you are. Then we will
want to see everybody's face.
Well, not really, but I do. Yeah.
This is like a Royal Rumble entry. Who's this?
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh,
there he is.
We got a full house, Stan. Welcome to the show.
That entrance, you're trying to
Good morning. Just woke up.
You just woke up. Look at that. Nice. Very good. 11 o'clock.
A bit bleary-eyed.
Nice.
I'm just having a cup of tea on the balcony.
Oh, there you go.
Nice
there you
one.
go. He said no face today, but he showed up. So there you go.
I heard you asking for it. So, but I'm going to turn off for a minute because I'm moving around and I don't want to distract everyone. But I am here talking. I am here.
All right, cool.
Okey-dokey.
So we'll do a little round robin like we do on some of my shows. This is in place of Arsenal Fan Circle, so I don't know how often we'll do this one, but we'll see how this goes. So we'll start it off. I think Stefan wanted to talk about VAR. I don't know. I did not. I don't know if you guys saw I saw the Liverpool match, but I don't recall VAR being an issue in it in terms of somebody lost a point here or there. If you want to explain, did anybody see it and think VAR?
I didn't see it.
VAR once again? Anybody? Yeah,
maybe Arsene Wenger of you all.
I watched. You know what? I watched the game, but I didn't think VAR had much to do in there in terms of.
Did not see it.
Yes. So I don't know, Stefan. I don't know what you saw, but I didn't think it was. I didn't think VAR was out, so it was used in a way that caused this game to be a little bit tainted. We got Mom in the house. Welcome to the show. 1 out of 3 games this weekend. I don't know what that means. 1 out of 3. Oh, this is my last chance to get a win, I guess. My last chance to get a win this weekend. Cowboys are playing Philadelphia, which on the road, not a good place to go. So, but everybody can hear everybody, so we're good.
It doesn't matter if you're at home or on the road. The Eagles are home.
You know what? I didn't ask for your input. I really did. I really was not asking for any of your input on this one.
It looks like Tony's being raped by the steam powered duck.
Look at that. Yeah, yes, he's got a buddy there.
Is it on his shoulder?
Yeah. Oh, he's talking about the handball. I don't know about that. That looked like that's.
Yeah, I couldn't get a pair, so I settled for a mallard instead.
Yeah. No, I think the finishing by Liverpool let them down. But yeah. I don't know if you guys saw the game, but I like I said, the way it ended, I guess was couldn't have written it any better. Luis Diaz coming in and putting in the goal to get guys get them a point when they hadn't played well enough to get the win for sure. But good way to finish it off for them. But we'll get into it. We'll get into other things. So what do you guys want to talk about first? So I guess we could talk about the Arsenal match. A lot of people still want to talk about that.
I think everybody's formed. I think everybody's formed a queue, Gary, to talk to you about that.
Yeah. So there's two ways. There's two things for me, and you guys choose whatever you want. There's two sides to this thing. I think there's the football, and then there's the other stuff, right? The other stuff, the VAR, and how Newcastle played, and all these types of things. I think, for me, just off the top, our football was I'm still, as you can see, waiting for a performance. I take performance over results every day. I know a lot of people want results and think results just come without performance. I think the two go hand in hand. Bargav, we'll get to your comment because that's a good one to talk about, but I'll do that in a little bit. Bargav, welcome to the show. We've got Ray. We've got Ryan who's joined us as well. Yeah, they just had one job, right? They couldn't get it done. But in terms of the game, I think it's part football, part us putting the result in the hands of somebody else besides ourselves. We didn't play well enough to get the win. I don't think Newcastle played well enough to get the win. So a draw would have been probably the best thing at that point, since none of us were taking it into our own hands. Let somebody else handle it, and you don't want to do that. I think that's where it went wrong for us. And Russ has joined us, but we'll get into that. Yes. Tony, I'll let you have your say. We'll go through the list here. So Tony, talk to me.
I don't give a fuck about VAR or any of that. 14 shots, 1 on goal, not good enough. Move on.
All right, that's Tony.
Okay.
Short and sweet.
Great stuff, Tony. Great stuff.
Short and sweet to his point, and we move on. Spencer, what say you?
He's not wrong. I mean, the VAR stuff is what it is, but I mean, I'm sorry. Eddie and Saka, I'm still wondering if they showed up for the game. I mean, they just non-existent. Martinelli's the only one going forward that looked like he had a pulse. Rice is still a class player every time you watch him play. I thought it was an excellent game if you look for a 0-0, like a competitive physical game. I thought from that aspect it was really nice to see tough physical football. But, Bruno Guimaraes, I mean, he got away with murder with the elbow to the back of Jorginho's head. I don't know what it's going to take. You've got Cole Palmer in the back of Odegaard in the Chelsea game. You've got the guy from City that did the 2 tackles. Mm-hmm. He stayed on the pitch. I mean, what's it going to take to get a red card on these teams when they make a red card offense? I mean, are we so worried about the entertainment value of the game that we don't want to call the game like it should be? I mean, that's where I'm at with it. Like, there's just inconsistency in reffing. And, 14 shots, 1 on target's not going to get it done. But I'm sure we'll talk about the VAR stuff. Like I said, I think the ball was out of bounds. I think it was a foul. The offside, I don't know too much, but definitely those 2 other elements, I think it was pretty clear cut on the monitor that those offenses happened, but they didn't call them. So, at least we didn't draw to Luton.
Spencer, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead there, fine, Mr. Greenwood.
I'm just curious. You have a beautiful sofa behind you. Why don't you fucking sit in it?
Well, I like sitting on the ground, because then I use my sofa as like a desk, right? So, I'd have to, my wife said I'm weird, but I'm comfortable on the floor, Sam.
I just always see you on the floor. You got that sofa behind you. You're always on the floor.
Well, I'm like one of the plebes. I'm not allowed to sit on the sofa.
That's true.
Oh,
True.
I just wanted to know why. I wanted to know
What?
why he's putting up Christmas lights 2.5 weeks early.
Listen, I'm
gonna
gonna.
say no.
Hey, a man can put Christmas lights on when he wants to. All right.
Look, Scott Hansen made a call at the beginning. He says you're over egregious neighbors with their Christmas lights. I put a lot of I'm one of those extreme decorators that would be on one of those TV shows, and I just have to get early, man.
Get in there early, yeah.
Yeah, I don't turn them on until Thanksgiving weekend, Tony. It's okay.
What you're really missing behind you though is the Snoopy with the football scene, because I'm a little disappointed. That's the one that we should be looking at right now, because that's what it seemed like happened yesterday. Somebody pulled the football from underneath our from us basically. So, but thank you, Spencer. We'll go to Mr. Tom. Mr. Tom, I know you said you watched the game.
I did. I watched the highlights after. No, seriously, right? I was watching wrestling. Damn it! Right. Anyway.
And before you start, I'm just gonna say for everybody, I posted a link for those who want to join Mr. Tom later. He will have his show on where they'll be talking about. I don't know what they're talking about. I want to say they're talking football, but he said they're talking about leads. So he'll let check it out.
We'll be talking about a fine result. Yeah, Leicester had 9 win. That win. L. The L was for Leeds because Leeds rolled into town and fucked them up. Right, we won 1-0. Anyway. Talk about Arsenal game, right? So obviously you had a series of unfortunate events. Let's say criminal decisions. But my question is, what do you do to overturn it after the fact? Because it never happened in the 89th minute. It feels like you've had your boo-boo face on because there was an injustice. But football doesn't account for injustices like that. You still play. And you didn't. And I'm not saying that to be a dick or that, because like my team, we had Patrick Bamford 3 years ago, got called offside for pointing where he wanted the ball. And ultimately, we would have been 1-1 at the game. We ended up losing 4-1 because our players had their boo-boo face on because, VAR fucked us. And it's like, yeah, but you don't get points for being upset that VAR fucked you. You get points for fucking scoring more goals than the other team, regardless of what VAR does. And we didn't on that day, and you didn't yesterday.
It's not supposed to be a non-scoring part of your body. You can't score with your hand. So why pointing? Why does that make you fucking offsides, Tom? Explain it.
Well, they changed the rule because of it. Because they hadn't accounted for that.
The fact that they have to change
now if you do that, it wouldn't be offside.
The fact that they had to change the rule and not just use common sense in the spirit of the rule itself, right? You can't score with your hand, so it's not even really necessary. You have to explain it now. It's like one of those things where you have to now put on a cup that there's hot content in there, because if you don't, somebody might take it and put it in between their legs while they drive down the street and burn themselves when they squeeze their legs.
It's kind of like explaining what a catch is in the NFL.
Yeah, that's another story. But is that it, Mr. Tom? Can we move on?
Yeah, but my point is, I'm not digging you out personally, your club. I'm saying it's just a thing that happens when things go against you, and you have a demeanour about it, and obviously you're supposed to overcome it, but teams usually don't. I don't know, but you'll be fine. You'll get over it.
Cool. All right. Next up, we've got Sam. Sam, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm going to start off by saying something I think everyone's forgot since the beginning of the season. And this is no excuse, of course, at all for the poor decisions and the absolutely mess of a VAR system we have currently. But it was made clear to everyone by the basically by the PGM, MOL, and also decided by the Premier League that there was going to be a higher bar for cards and stuff this season, because they wanted the game to be a bit more involved. Not so easily people getting carded all the time. There was going to be a bit of a higher bar before you actually got the yellow card. So that's probably one of the reasons why we seem to be seeing more happening without cards, and that's not just for us, that's for everyone. But yeah, still, there's no excuse for the mistakes that were made by the referee and by the VAR team. But for me, the game was again, it's what we've been seeing far too often this season. Is we are very ineffective with the ball. When we get the ball, we do very little with it. That's like dangerous and effective. It's Nketiah, apart from his little day at the parades with Sheffield United, he's a non-existent, especially away from home. He does normally better at home in front of the Emirates, but away from home, the guy's just completely non-existent. Saka's playing with an injury. You can see it so clearly now. He's not himself. He's not 100%, and he keeps playing him. So we're not getting anything from him. Saka was basically invisible that game as against Newcastle yesterday as well. So it's like we need to figure out what we're going to be doing to try and score goals, because at the moment, the way we've been playing for a while now is we struggle to create effective goal scoring chances. It's a big problem. We get into this horseshoe of death thing again around the box, just round backwards and forwards, around in rings around the box, trying to find space when you've got 8-9 guys in the box. Good luck trying to find any space in there. It's not set up correctly. It's the way we're playing is not working effectively. On the other hand, we've got the best defense now in the league, which was a big problem we had a few seasons ago. So, we seem to have fixed our defensive issues by having Saliba, Gabriel, and Ben White basically back there, who have now played for they're going into their second season now together, playing really well, shored up the defense very well. So defensively, we're solid, but as soon as we win that ball and we try and transition the ball, we transition through midfield, it just goes nowhere. You got Havertz playing out of position. He was slightly, in my opinion, slightly better in the 10 role yesterday. He was playing instead of Erdegaard. He was slightly better in that position, but that's the only time he's played it so far this season. So, I wasn't expecting away at Newcastle, fireworks from him. But normally he's going to be playing in the 8 role, which he can't play in the 8 role. He's shown now he can't play that role. But Arteta keeps playing him in that role. And that together with Nketiah and Saka playing injured, and he keeps playing him injured. These are all, and you know what the common denominator here is in all these things I've been saying? It's Mikel Arteta. It's all decisions made by Mikel Arteta to play Saka injured, to play Havertz continuously out of position when he's out of form. He's got no confidence. He keeps playing him, to continuously use the same tactics that everyone knows how to play us now. You counter what the teams do now, and Newcastle did it as well against us yesterday, is they sit quite low in 2 solid lines in a low block. As soon as they win the ball, they're down the flanks. They're down the opposite flank from where the ball is, because that's where all the space is, because we've pushed our fullbacks up and we're inverted. So they go immediately opposite flank. Then they put in 2-3 runners into the box. They try and get the ball. They go down the flank, get the ball as quickly as possible into the box to 2-3 runners coming in. And it's very effective. It's very direct. It's easy. It's effective. And it's worked many times against us this season. We've got a good defense, got good tall players who can mainly keep that away. But it's dangerous. And it's we keep setting up that same way and we keep getting done by it. And unfortunately, with Raya in goal now, it's going to be an issue, because Raya positions himself wrong on crosses.
Yep.
He did it again yesterday. He was too far forward, too offensive, lined up with the cross. So the ball went over him again, and it was too easy. And he keeps doing this. So teams know this. They're not stupid. Eddie Howe is not stupid. Most managers in the Premier League are not stupid. They're going to know, okay, we're going to go down the opposite wing. We're going to get in a cross. Raya is dodgy on crosses. Let's get that cross in, aim towards the back post. And it's going to be a problem. It is going to be a problem for us.
All right, I'm going to interrupt you because I want everybody to get some say as well.
Yeah, so I just want to finish up. I'm sort of summarizing all in one now, so you guys can have it for the rest of the show. But yeah, I'm just saying, that's it's just again I just want to finish up by saying the common denominator here, unfortunately at the moment, is Mikel Arteta. He needs to figure out something new and do something different, basically. Anyway, sorry for.
He only has plan A, Sam. You know that.
Yeah.
All right, and Stan, here you go. Here's your chest. No, yeah, Sam. I want everybody to get their say. I think we'll definitely come back to you, but yeah.
Of course.
We'll let Stan have your say about the game. Give you your initial thoughts on it and stuff like that, and we'll get into some specifics a little bit later.
See, I actually felt that up until the goal, I felt that we were competing with Newcastle. It was a very tough game. I haven't seen a game like that kind of style for quite some time. Problem was Newcastle were going across the line with it a little bit, like elbowing people in the back of the head. And, I'm surprised how Bruno Gummy Bears made it to half-time and was still on the pitch. But I actually felt that we were competing. And I have to disagree a little bit with Sam about what he was saying about Eddie, because I've been a big critic of Eddie Nketiah. But I felt that he was working really hard yesterday, really getting stuck in and putting himself about, and he was in lots of places around the pitch. And I felt a lot of our players were doing that. But it's hard to compete when the other team are bashing you in the back of the head and, constantly fouling you, and you're not getting anything much from the referee. However, I did like Kai Havertz's move. One move, he gets 3 players booked. I've never seen that before in football. So maybe that's what his secret is. But I'm sure we're going to talk about the VAR stuff a little bit later on. But yeah, I thought up until that part that we were in the game, and I felt that, a 0-0 draw and with a point each would have been a fair result.
I hear you. There was a comment, and it's probably, it leads into what you were talking about there. And we'll start talking. We'll let everybody have their say. And I'll go backwards this time around. So, no, we'll just go round robin. Sorry. So next up, this is a comment from Blargav. Big up, Gary. How bad was the Havertz performance? And I think we're going to have mixed views on that. I've heard good and bad on both sides for Havertz in this game. As soon as I see him in midfield, for me, it's a no. I don't think this is going to work. I think the things that he does off ball, which everybody talks about, are the things that I'm like, those are the things that. So if he's doing those things and all the things that we brought him in for, he's not doing those things. So goals and assists and whatnot, helping with the attack as much as on a consistent basis, I think are things that he's lacking. So for me, we didn't. He might be doing some of the things that Xhaka was doing for us, but in general, that I think bringing Rice in was going to help with that anyways. But I just don't think he's doing it for me there. I think he's better suited right on the top line and let him play there. I think he's better suited for now, coming off the bench and getting his confidence back. If that's his best game, in a game in which he's potentially going to get sent off and play a little bit reckless with his tackles, I think I don't want that, because that's going to punish us even more. And it could have punished us in this game. If we go down a man in the way this game was being played, I think we would have been in trouble. And I think for me, I would have pulled him. So I would have pulled him. I know it probably sounds bad. I know I've seen videos of what he was doing in the game, but I think that's a little reckless. And so for me, I didn't like it. Yeah, that's me. Havertz midfield, not good for me. I think I want somebody else there. I don't know if we have an answer, but definitely I want somebody else there. So Tony, you're up. Havertz?
Would be, doesn't matter where he plays at. To me, it's a waste of $70 million when we don't have a striker. We don't get a striker. But as far as playing in that left 8 row, You still got Zinchenko that can play there. You got Smith Rowe. I was saying that last year when Zaka was there, you had 4 or 5 players that could have slotted into that role and did a better job. Still pretty much true this year. Like you say, he's probably better up front, but still don't think he's good enough because he'd be taken from who? Martinelli, Jesus, or Saka. Saka needs a rest, but he's not going to get it because Arteta already played him 3,800 minutes last year. He'll probably get 4,500 minutes this year. He's burned the kid out. By the time he's 22, 23 years old, he's not going to have much in the tank. But for Harvard, I don't care where he plays. To me, he's not good enough. Way too big of a price tag. But there's definitely better options on left feet than him.
Oh, okay, I hear you. I think it does matter where he plays. I think we need to play him in the best position for Arsenal. You know,
Well,
this is a team game.
Who do you bench him for? Who do you bench?
Like I said, I'd rather have him play up top. And in this game, if you played him up top and you had you played him up top, then maybe we get a little bit better out of it. So this is a game where you could have done that. But yeah, Spencer, we'll have your say. I don't know if are you watching football or is there football on? I don't even know. You're on mute, so we can't hear you right now. We really can't hear you. Is it just me?
No, he's on mute.
It's me. I was on mute.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got football on in the background. I've been listening. The Havertz thing, man, and the problem, everything with Arsenal right now is balance driven. To me, Timber's injury, Partey's injury, Jesus can't stay healthy. So now the best 11 that he probably wants to run with, he hasn't been able to use all year. So I don't know what Havertz's best position on this team. I thought he played pretty well in the 10 position yesterday. But I think also I heard someone say, we haven't scored a goal in the first 15 minutes of a game yet this year. But what we've done is we've solidified ourselves up a little bit more defensively. But I don't know. To me, the best midfield was Rice, Partey, and Odegaard. But Partey can never stay healthy. So we have to play either Havertz or Vieira. And Vieira and Havertz are limited in what they can do. I mean, I'm kind of with Gary. I'd love to see Havertz just play the 9 role at this point and have Eddie be the backup. But I mean, it's the injuries. I mean, this is frustrating, man. But 0-0 was a fair result, I think, yesterday. If that had been the end result, I don't think we'd be upset. But the VAR stuff has kind of over highlighted that. But yeah, I mean, look at the lineup. We talked about it, Gary, and Tom and Sam. What were the options on the bench? I know Sam made a good point about playing Trossard at the 8. I don't think that's a horrible shout at this point. Move Havertz up to the top line and play Trossard at the 8. And I do like Tony's opinion on Zinchenko playing in the 8 as well. But as far as Havertz goes, he's here. So I can cry about it for 38 weeks, or I can just learn to live with it until they move on from him.
He's one of Arteta's favorites now.
Yeah. I mean, he is available, which, I mean, some of these other guys that are better can't stay healthy. I mean, I hate to say that. It's just, if you're not available, then what good are you? We're going to have to move on from Partey in the summer. So, and Jesus, I mean, we can't rely on him either. This is 2 years in a row now. I know that knee injuries happen, but you got to be available, man. And that's all I got on that, Gary.
Well, I want to say welcome to Craig to the show. And a lot of people have this opinion. Arteta's dwelling on VAR and not on his team's play. He's trying to get everybody on his side. I think, as I've already said, the football has not been good. So next up, we've got Mr. Tom. Mr. Tom, how
Why that tone to Gary? Like, oh, it's Mr. Tom.
No, it wasn't
I'm
that.
gonna
Sorry.
make you fucking regret it.
It
I'm gonna
wasn't
make you
that.
regret it now. I'm gonna filibuster for the next 20 minutes.
Well,
No,
I
I'm
know,
not really.
I know you can do that, but
I'm not really going. I'm not going to. I just no. All I will say, right, and then obviously move on with the actual Arsenal knowledge people. Okay, that's basically everyone here except myself. But I find the Havertz discourse interesting in that it's very divisive. It doesn't feel like it's very. I don't know. No one seems to be in the middle on it. It's either people really don't want him anywhere near the team, or there's definitely a spot for him. And a lot of the people that don't want him near the team have decided that from the moment he was signed, in my opinion, from what I've seen. But Spencer said, for example, about if your whole team was fit, where would you play him, or where do you think he would be played if you had, in an ideal world, which never happens, but if everyone in your team was fit and everyone could play, would he play? But would he play because you paid 70 odd million for him?
Yeah, good question.
He's one of Arteta's pets. So
Tony, you think he'll play?
Yeah, they'll play.
You think he would play if everybody was fit?
No.
Yeah.
Timber,
Absolutely
Partey
not.
are fit.
Nope. I disagree.
Would.
All right, so there you
Would
go.
that
Tony
be on
thinks-
merit though, or because of transfer fee?
Gary.
Well, Tony, you want to finish up, or you done?
You had Zaka. You've had all these players that are Arteta's pets. He plays them. Doesn't matter what's going on. Last year, you have Trossard. He's scoring. Then you pull him out. Don't really play him. Something that Eddie wasn't doing. Jesus wasn't doing. And I still say we would have won the title. Trossard stayed up front.
But let's stick to
Jesus
this
coming
thing.
back.
Let's stick
It
to
is
this.
this thing. It's this thing. He loves Zaka. There's no way he'd pull him out of the team.
Yep.
Now you have somebody else as this new pet. He's playing.
All right. Tony says yes.
I disagree.
Spencer?
I 100% disagree. If you cannot tell me that if Timber's healthy, Ben White's healthy, Saliba, Gabriel, Partey, Odegaard, Rice, Martinelli, Jesus, and Saka, he's putting Havertz in there over that 11. I'm not going to believe it. We haven't had that 11 available except maybe once this year. So I disagree with it 100%. I think does he potentially be a starter? Yeah. Who cares about the transfer fee at this point? Like, that's what we're all been about, is the transfer fee. If you got the player for 30 million, no one cares. But if you got him for 65, and I've heard people say, like, well, we could add Kudus. Well, Kudus was going to probably not be a starter for you. He's not even a starter at West Ham. So, like, I hear all these other names people say, but it didn't happen. Like, it is what it is. Like, I don't like it, but these players, our best 11 has not been fit yet. And I guarantee you, Arteta would not make Havertz a starter over Rice, Partey, and Odegaard in the midfield. There's no way. And if that would be what he would choose, then he should be fired.
There you go. Sam?
Yeah, I mean, it's Tom makes some good points there from his outside perspective. He's not wrong. Havertz is a very divisive player for us, isn't he? And there are many people who, in my opinion, have never given him a chance at all. Really, they don't like him on face value on what he's done at Chelsea, and thinking that automatically has to be the same as what happens at Arsenal, which is quite unfair. But at the same time, during the time he's been with us now, he hasn't really proven, that he needs to be starting games. He needs to be an important part of our squad. He hasn't really proven that. So, yeah, that's the thing, isn't he? He's a bit of a disappointment, unfortunately. And it's a tough question. If everyone's fit, like Spencer said, in an ideal world, if everyone's fit, I think it's very much down to the tactics that Arteta wants to play, because I think it would be very interesting to see how we played again, like we did the second half against, was it City, when we had Partey, Rice, and Erdegaard. It was really good. It was really we really outfought their defense and outplayed outfought and outplayed their midfield with those guys playing together. So would Arteta go with that, or would he go with either Partey or Rice in the deep role and then Havertz in the 8 role and then Erdegaard in the 10 role? That's what I'm a bit uncertain about. But for me personally, I agree with Spencer. I'd like to see, if everyone's fit, I'd like to see Rice, Partey, and Erdegaard together in the midfield.
Cool. Next up, Stan. Here we go. Havertz, does he get the start if everybody in a perfect world?
For me, Havertz is like a jigsaw puzzle piece, but from a different set, and somehow it's found its way into our box. It doesn't matter how much you want to hammer on it, it ain't going to fit in because it's not part of that puzzle. That's what I think about him. And I think if everybody's fit, he probably does start like at the beginning of the season to get everybody in. He started playing Partey at right back. And I don't know, I mean, he gave us his explanation of why he was doing that, but to me, it looked like a way of trying to fit people in. And if that meant that some of them were going to play out of position, then so be it. And it didn't really work for me. But, you know, what are you going to do? Because you look at, I've heard a few people mentioning Trossard, but for me, every time he gets an opportunity to start games, he disappears. He seems like he's more useful to Arsenal as an impact player off of the bench, where he seems to do most of his damage. And he'll do that several times and be knocking on the door, and then he'll get a start, and he doesn't take his chance to nail down a position. So it's a touchy one. And as for Zinchenko playing in the midfield, I honestly believe that Mikel Arteta will not play Zinchenko in midfield if he doesn't have to. I think that he would rather start Mohamed El-Neni in midfield ahead of Zinchenko. I don't think he trusts him as a midfielder. For some reason, he trusts him as a midfielder playing as a defender that inverts into the midfield. But I don't think he'll ever start him as a midfielder. And talking about that, why can't we have a defender that inverts into the midfield instead of a midfielder? Maybe we'd be more defensively secure if we had a defender inverting and not a midfielder who's not going to get trusted to start in the midfield, even though he plays for this country in midfield. So I'm not sure sometimes about what our starting 11 is under Mikel Arteta, because he's quite prone to perhaps take out Ben White and put Timber in there. If Timber was fit, maybe. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. True. Yeah, good question there from you, Mr. Tom. That got us off in a different direction, but it was a good one. Thank you for that. Yeah, we were talking about Havertz. And there's the other parts of this. Is he part? As Dan said, is he also good for this puzzle set that we have going on called Arsenal? It's Nketiah. As Nketiah actually, as I've said multiple times, Nketiah for me is not. He's not going to give us the games that we need when we want them. He gave us a good game against Sheffield United, and that's probably, some people will say that's probably his level. This game, he played all right. I mean, if you go back and watch some of the videos, you'll see his movement was okay, but I just think he doesn't give us what we need. Like, he's not going to pick up the slack for Saka, who's struggling. He's not going to pick up the slack for any midfield play that's going to help us build up. So in reality, he's a one-trick pony, and if we don't give him that trick, he won't do anything for us. So once again, I think Nketiah for me, he doesn't press, he just jogs around. So I don't think he's worthy of what we're trying to do as a football team. So Tony, talk to me about Nketiah.
Do I have to? I feel like I've done this a million times already.
I guess your dog has spoken.
Dog's like, not Eddie again.
But to me, we know what he is. Shouldn't be on 100 grand. Shouldn't be the starting striker, let alone the second striker. But I've never seen an Arsenal team that only has one striker, and Katie is the only one. Jesus isn't one. Again, I go back to Kai. Kai shouldn't have been bought because we needed a striker. You could have had that money in reserve. As soon as the winter window opens up, you could get Tony. I just don't see it. Or you could have probably got him at the start of the season. But to me, he's not good enough. He never will be. To me, he's championship level player. He doesn't give enough effort. Not clinical. Doesn't involve his other teammates enough. To me, I look at him, I just don't see a Premier League striker there.
All right. We'll go back here. Your favorite player. Your favorite player. This is the. Someone say this is the spokesman for the Eddie and Kedia fan club. If you're looking for, he's looking for a membership. He will actually.
He's the leader and only member of it.
Yeah, he will pay you to join. That's how bad. That's how bad they're looking for members.
All I'm going to point out is, obviously Eddie's wonderful and fantastic. Like we all know that, but why isn't Gabriel Jesus getting shit? What's he done that's better than Eddie lately?
I give him shit all the time, Tom.
I don't give a fuck what you do. What's he fucking done lately?
I don't know, but did you watch him in the Sevilla game? Because if you watch Eddie,
of course I did.
Like that,
of course I did. I watched every second. I tracked him around the pitch. Of course I did.
that means absolutely I did not. I get it. We get it.
But seriously, I just think some people need to be pointing the finger elsewhere when they're talking about Eddie, as if like Eddie's the only reason that things ain't always going 100% perfect, and that's not necessarily the case.
Didn't I just point out we have one striker, and that's Eddie? Jesus isn't a striker.
Listening to you, Tony. No, I'm not joking. But
yeah. You can't say a bad word about him. We get it. We'll let somebody else have her say.
Yeah,
maybe Spencer has something
please.
He wants to say. Go ahead.
So in defense of Eddie, and like I said, I have my feelings
into
about
a
Eddie.
courtroom.
There we go.
Did Tom pay you money to?
Well, no, what I'm about to say will make a little bit of sense. So a striker is only as good as the service he gets from the midfield. So, and I want to bring a point up that Sam said in, I believe, in Ryan's chat yesterday. All we did from about the 70th minute on was play horseshoe around the pitch. Where is the runs in the middle of the field? Where's the midfielders breaking down that low block? Everything is, let's go to Martinelli on the outside. I think there was a game a couple of years ago where we played Wolves and they did a heat map, and a heat map made a perfect horseshoe. We did nothing in the middle. So, yes, Eddie is not a elite Premier League striker or anything like that, but you're only as good as the service you get. And if you get no service, you get what you get. You get zero. So we need to be more, and that's why we have the inverted left back. So to piggyback what Stan was saying is because we have an extra presence in the midfield to help break down the defense that we're incapable of doing. But look how we've beaten City the last two times. Deflected shots, right? We had the one in the Community Shield where Trosser took a shot and it deflected off of, I think, it doesn't matter, one of their guys into the goal, and then Alpha Ake's face. Why are we just chucking shots in the box? Maybe it hits Botman's head and pops into Pope's net. I mean, just take shots, see what happens. But I mean, do we need another striker? Absolutely. But in defense of Eddie, you got to have some service. And Jesus, he deserves his crap too. But I mean, he's great in the game, and then the 67th minute, he just something in my thigh just went. So. I don't know. It's a frustrating. It's the Tony thing too. Tony, we talked about this yesterday. I know you weren't around, but $100 million for a guy that's busted for 8 months of gambling. That's a heck of a gamble to take for the club to take, because all it takes is him. If he gets busted again for gambling, it's 8 months. 8 months this time. Next time it could be 16 months. And then the club's dropped $100 million on a striker, and we don't have him. And then we're going to be cussing him. So, you know, Tony only makes sense to me at the 50 range or the 40 range, not $100 million. There's too much risk involved based on the morality clauses, I guess, shall we say.
Okay. All right. We've got a new person who's joining us on the stage here. Mr. Tom left before I can say thank you, but thank you, Mr. Tom. And we will.
Alonzo.
Yeah, so Alonzo's in the house. So we'll let Alonzo get the last say on this one, but we will continue on next with Sam. Your favorite striker and mine. Tell me about Nketiah.
No, it's just I can summarize very quickly. He's just not good enough. I mean, yes, it's true that the service isn't helping either. But even when he gets service, he gets good chances. He can't score. Yes, he scored 3 goals against Sheffield United. They were good goals. They came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, Eddie Nketiah, we all hoped he would be, came out of nowhere, and he showed up that day. There are all different probably explanations for that, but it was a great performance. You have to give it to him. But it's that one performance, and we know the rest of the season, basically, apart from maybe 1 or 2 games, he's going to be bang average, if not completely invisible. And, it's just not good enough. And then, like I said, how many of the other so-called top 6 teams would use Eddie Nketiah from the start? None. Would Manchester United use him from the start? No, they wouldn't. Would Manchester City use him? Of course not. Would Newcastle use him? Of course not. Would Liverpool use him? Of course not. So we need to get a better striker. And I agree, Ivan Toney, even though he's got a lot of qualities to him, he hasn't played competitive football for a while. That's a big risk. And when you have such a big risk involved, you can't pay top money. You can't pay top money to take that risk. If you can get him cheap, 30, 40, maybe 50 million mark, okay, you might want to take the risk. But when they start asking for 80, 90, 100 million, like the guy's been banging in 30 goals and never stopped playing, no, that's completely wrong. You can't take that risk. It's too much money. There are so many other strikers out there we can try to bring in, for that kind of money. So yeah, let's rather do that. But we definitely need a top level striker, because Nketiah is not going to be the guy that's going to lead us to a title.
Very true, very true. And we'll let Stan get in there. Evan Ferguson also, it will be £100 million gamble. Not sure we can afford to do that at this point. We need somebody who can play yesterday. Tony can, but not for 100. So we'll see. Stan, tell me. I know you were just talking about puzzle pieces earlier. I think Arteta has been cutting up the Eddie puzzle piece to make it work. Is it going to work?
I was interested to see that after he scores a hat trick and he can only play who's in front of you. We had a very good game that day. I wanted to see how he would follow up that performance. He would have been walking on air. So I really was interested to see how he would follow that performance. And in the Champions League, I thought he just looked awful. Awful. I actually thought he looked a lot better yesterday. He was working hard. He was trying to make things happen. But in the Champions League game, I thought he was awful. And it's that inconsistency that, we need better than that at Arsenal. I look at that player from Wolves who keeps catching my eye, called Hwang. Have you seen him? Number 11, called Hwang. And I see him play, and he seems to be, he's not always their starter, but he always seems to be in the middle of stuff and making things happen. And I look at the way that this guy's playing, I'm like, why haven't we got a player like that? This is how Eddie should be playing. Always banging on the door and, thinking that it's going to be difficult to leave him out. But he never does. And as for Ivan Toney, I think that there is a tier above Ivan Toney, which Arsenal should now be shopping in. And it's the same shop that we went and bought Declan Rice from. That's where we should be shopping if we're going to be bringing in a striker. I think there are far better players out there who will give us more than Ivan Toney. I don't think Ivan Toney is what I would consider as a world-class striker at all. And that's what we should be looking for. We went out and bought a world-class midfielder. That's where we should be aiming to continue buying players from that shop who are of that sort of quality. And as some of the lads are saying, 60, 70, 80, 90 million pounds for Ivan Toney is way too much. And, you know, excuse the pun, but it is, as everyone said, a hell of a gamble. It seems like, for me, it seems like the lazy option. Oh, you know, he's only up the road. You know, we can just go and do that deal instead of actually going out and finding a better profile of someone, which may take a little bit more hard work. It may mean a few aeroplane, you know, journeys somewhere. But if we're going to get the right profile, I'd rather you go the extra mile than just go for the lazy move, the convenient move. And it kind of feels a little convenient.
I hear you. All right, we're gonna let Lonzo have a say, and then I'll get to you, Spencer, in a bit. So yeah, Lonzo, you're up next. We're talking about Eddie Nketiah. You know, what do you think about Eddie Nketiah staying, or do you think he's got to go?
I think he'll stay because he is an option. But then again, like who else do we have? Like Tony was saying, you know, I want to root for Eddie a lot because I like what he has. I like what he brings, but then again, like he disappears in big games, and so that's kind of discouraging. If you want to root for Eddie Nketiah, which I do, you know, those goals he scored against Sheffield United were quality goals. They were pretty classy goals, I would say. So I disagree with Tony with that. I think that he has it in his locker to score good goals like that. But again, you really see that because he always misfires or he doesn't really aim for goal all the time. So that's also kind of discouraging also. But yeah, like yesterday, the midfield was no help either. I think, you know, that midfield that Arteta went with was not going to help Eddie Nketiah. They're all not attacking number 10s. So that was kind of discouraging also. But yeah, I think Eddie on this day can be a good striker. But then again, like he's not going to be consistent like we want him to be. I think this year he's also a better starter than last year, but you don't get that. You don't even get that every game. So I think that's what's disappointing about how I feel about Nketiah. But I think what everyone else has said about Ivan Toney is that he's going to be too expensive. And, you know, I remember a while back where, you know, Arsene Wenger was in charge, that he always found these gems of strikers. And I think we tend to do that a lot because we're trying to compete with City and Liverpool and United about getting top class strikers, and we don't need to do that. We need to aim for someone who could just do the job. And unfortunately, with money nowadays, the expectation of it is that the more you pay for a player, the more pressure is on them to do well. And I think nowadays you don't see that every game. I like Ivan Toney, but not at that price. Like Spencer had said, maybe if he would cost maybe $40 million, then that's a good price for him. For someone who hasn't played a lot of football lately. But you know, he has something that I think can offer more than what Nketiah does and Jesus. So you know, I think there are better strikers out there. It's just got to look for them. And right now, they're not looking hard enough to me.
I hear you. Before we let Spencer go, I was just looking at the stats just to put this in perspective and tell you where we stand as a team. Eddie Nketiah has the same amount of goals combined as Trossard, Martinelli, Kai Havertz, and Gabriel Jesus in the Premier League at this point. That's where we sit. And we don't consider him a striker. I don't think anybody does. That's where we sit as a team, and that is probably key to how we're playing right now. Eddie Nketiah is our leading goal scorer. Definitely all goals from outside the penalty area. That's where we're struggling. We're goal scoring from our core players, and he's leading us right now. And I don't know if that's not a good sign for us. I think if Nketiah is leading us in goals, that's not a good sign. I think we have better players, and we should be scoring more goals and all of that. And it comes down to that creation part that Spencer talks about. I think anybody you listen to will talk about the creation of chances more than basically the fact that we don't score many goals. We don't even get that many chances. So key there. Spencer, I know you wanted to say something.
I put it in the private chat, and was talking about, trying to look at Julio Alvarez, for example. Said he got him from overseas. I mean, maybe we should try to start thinking about. My thing is, and I'm going to sound insane when I say this, but this would be par for the course. So Sam, brace yourself. I think our answer for this year is going to have to be in January, finding a lone striker, a loan move, and then revisiting the striker decision in July or June, where we can pay a little bit more market value. Who the loanee is, I don't know. It's probably going to be a veteran who's 28, 29. I've got a couple names, but I'm not going to say it. But I mean, Evan Ferguson would be someone that, he's 18 years old. He's a Brighton. I don't think they'd sell him, but he's got 5 goals so far this year. But yeah, I mean, it's low risk, high reward, right? I mean, I think Alvarez was purchased for, $13 million by Man City. So, and look what they've got now. But he is also a product of their team and their service. But I think so far we've given up 9 goals so far in 11 games. Last year we gave up 43. So we're on pace to give up less goal. We're also on pace to score less. So I think what we've done is we've made ourselves more defensively sound, but we've also kind of sacrificed some of our explosiveness up top. So, the striker argument is going to be interesting because part of me says you need to go big because your windows of opportunities to win championships aren't there every year. The other part of me says, if you drop $100 million on someone like Tony and it misses, you can cripple your club's transfer policy for the next 3 years.
How many of you would buy him for his actual market value? That's $35 million. I don't know why his price is so inflated, but his market value is $35 million.
His price is inflated because Brentford truly don't want to sell them. But if you offer them an insane amount of money, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we'll sell them to you." Right? It's kind of like Balogun. I would love to have kept him, but someone offered us 40, 45, 50 million, right? And we were like, okay, an academy kid that costs us really nothing, helps out with FFP. I mean, if we're talking market value, yes, but we're not talking market value. We're talking La La Land money. And January is the time where you take advantage of clubs that are desperate.
What's Balogun doing this season?
I have not looked.
He's not doing much.
Yeah, start off good.
You say it's his market value, Tony, but it's his market value according to who?
Yeah.
A player's worth as much as you think you can spend on him, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah, he might be struggling, but he's got 3 goals and an assist right now.
I wonder what.
And we know he missed. We know he missed. I don't know, 1 or 2 opportunities to score, definitely from the penalty spot. So I think he may have seen. It's like he seems like he may have, recovered from that little bad spell.
In my opinion, there's still a lot better out there that we need to look at. So.
I think players always go higher than their market value, don't they? And Mudryk was sold for higher than his market value. I think Caicedo was. I think even Declan Rice was higher than probably what his market value is. I think it's just the way the market is dictating the fees and the prices at the moment. If X player is worth this amount, then this player we want to sell, he plays in a similar position, then he must be worth near that amount. That's how it seems to be going.
Yeah.
I got a question for, I guess, the panel and kind of my thoughts on it. January window. Do we need a striker? Or actually, do we need somebody in the midfield that can help us to maybe create more chances so that, we can get, if we have to, I mean, right now, many will say Saka's not playing well. The man's got 7 goals and assists, 7 goal contributions at this point, leading the team. And he's struggling. He'll do much better if he had somebody behind him or in the middle, in that midfield, helping him out, I think, and probably would definitely have over 10 goal contributions at this point in the season. So is it important that we get a striker, or is it important that we fill that midfield with a player to get us better and give us more chances and solidify the middle a little bit more? You know,
Then
that's
he's going
kind
to put
of
them away.
I kind of
He's going to put those chances away because Gabriel seems to need 5 or 6 chances sometimes to get one. Eddie, the ball doesn't seem to stick to him enough, and he comes in spurts. You know, hat tricks against Sheffield United, but the goals aren't spread out, are they? So, you know, striker or someone, I don't know, both.
Yeah, we can only
Probably
pick one,
both,
right?
don't we?
Because I don't think we have the money to get both, a decent one either. So Tony, I'll let you go. Let you go here, Tony. Striker or midfielder?
Striker, I think we get plenty of the deep passes. Now we get it from the goalkeeper. Ed, Saliba, and Gabriel back there. You have Zinchenko that can. I still would put him at the 8. But I think it's there. It's just the players are either hurt or not being played where they should or when they should. But as far as Jesus, he could slide over, give Saka some rest. Or he could slide over to the other side, give some Martinelli some rest. But we definitely need a keeper because the only true striker you got is Eddie. Eddie isn't very good enough. We should have addressed this in the summer. We should have addressed it last summer, last winter. We've had plenty of times to go get a better striker. Instead, we're like, oh, let's sign Eddie for 5 years for $100,000. Did he deserve that money? Nope. But Arteta liked him for some reason. He had Crystal Palace willing to pay $20 million for him and some other clubs. But instead, for whatever reason, Arteta wants to persist with him. It's not working. It's not going to work. I think even if we go out and buy somebody, it's how much is Arteta to put him in there. He seems to be copying Pep and let's go with no striker and a bunch of midfield and attacking players, but not a true striker.
Harlan's not a striker, or am I missing that?
When did he finally do that?
I'm just asking because now he's done it. So if he's going to follow suit, then he needs to go out there and spend a lot of money on a striker because that's what Pep did.
2 strikers now, don't they? With Alvarez as well.
Yeah. So So Tone, anything else? I'll move on. Nope. Spencer, midfielder or striker?
So I was looking at the Community Shield lineup from earlier in the year when we first played City, and of course, Ramsdale's in goal, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, and then Odegaard, Partey, Rice, Saka, Havertz, Martinelli. So for me, I'm going to tell you right now, the 2 most important players on that team sheet are Declan Rice and William Saliba. That's the bread and butter that keeps it together. We lost the championship last year based on Saliba being unavailable. I'm gonna have to go midfield as my choice on this one.
Yeah, but we didn't just buy a center back last winter that could have played. Instead, we went with holding.
Well,
yeah, that's the coach. That's not the players. We had enough backup for Saliba, but
I mean,
I didn't go that way.
And I get that. I mean, we bought Kivior in, but we barely played him until the end of the season. But, I mean, that's the other thing, too. When you bring a player in January, do you bring him in January 1 or January 31st? Because it becomes an assimilation problem at a portion of the time, too, right? So you bring a guy in, how quickly does he adapt to your system? The midfield is probably one of the hardest positions to adapt to because of all the communication. And you're dealing with the back line and the forward line as well. To me, I would bring in another midfielder if you could. And I think we might be able to get one pretty decently cheap. I don't think it'd be a massive amount of money. But, I mean, maybe at the end of the day, the Community Shield is what he wanted to do. Havertz up top. But because Partey keeps getting injured and other people being unavailable, Havertz has had to slot into the midfield. So, I mean, I'm going to go midfield as my answer on that. Unless you can get me a striker at a decent deal. But again, like Stan's 100% right about that. About people are what people are willing to pay for them, right? So, to me, it's absolutely got to be midfield because you can still defense will still win you a championship. You know, goals will win you games, but defense will win you a championship.
I hear you. All right, Sam. Striker. As I said, I go midfield. So
definitely a striker for me because we have the defensive solidity we need. I think we're good. We're good at the back as long as we don't get any long-term injuries. But you can't really, no teams unless you're Man City. You can't really sort of you can't have a world-class defender on the bench who's is going to step in when someone gets injured. You are going to always drop a level when one of your starting centre backs gets injured long term. But I think, like I said, we have the defensive stability there now. We're much better without the ball. That's where we've, I think, improved the most so far this season is off the ball. But it's with the ball we struggle, and creating good goal scoring opportunities is the major issue. And the strike, we have a striker who can put away chances. We're missing so many chances up front. So far this season, we need to bring in someone who can really do it. But January is difficult. That's what people don't factor in. January is an extremely difficult transfer window because nearly all the players you want are not going to be available because their team does not want to sell them mid-season unless you give them some kind of ridiculous, extra transfer fee, unless you double their value or something. You go crazy. That no team's going to want to sell a player that's important to them in the middle of the season. It's not going to happen. So January is a time when you get players who are surplus to a team's needs, or maybe there's a player maybe who wants to leave. There's a transfer request. That is another possibility. So for me, I'm thinking like realistic targets in January, unless you go try and get a talent somewhere, maybe gamble maybe on a talent, maybe. Apart from that, we're monitoring Osimhen at Napoli because I don't think he's happy at Napoli. Maybe we could get him out of Napoli for a certain price. But yeah, January is a difficult window, guys. I think we have to factor in that. But for me, out of the choice, we need a striker.
I hear you. Let's stand have his say in Lonzo. We'll keep going. All right, like I said. What say you?
I think there's 3 positions that we need to strengthen, and AFC always, I think, hit the nail on the head with the 3 positions, and that's a striker, another midfielder, and a winger. But looking at the choice of what you're saying, if Partey's fit and Emil Smith-Rowe is fit, we've got everybody fit, then I think that we need to get a striker. I think we can.
That's a lot of ifs, though. That's a lot of ifs, and you're asking players that have not actually been reliable in terms of their fitness and be able to give us a full season.
I'm just looking at the numbers. We should be able to cope in the midfield if we've got everybody available to choose from. Yeah. So on that basis, then if I'm just doing it as a head count, then I would say that we definitely need something that's a little bit more prolific up front. If the thing is with Gabriel Jesus, he does so many good things. The way that he comes deep, I've seen him helping out defensively. Just the way that he assisted, for example, that goal for Martinelli, that set Martinelli off from that run and take the ball around the keeper. He does all of these really good things, but then he also manages to get himself in the box for really good goal scoring positions, but he misses so many of them. That's the thing. There was one stat the other day, I think he had 6 chances and he scored 1 goal. That's his efficiency is terrible. If he could put the ball in the back of the net more, he'd be a world beater because everything else that he does is kind of unique for a striker to be able to do all of those things. But the one thing that you want him to do, he seems to have trouble with it, and that's been consistent with putting the ball in the back of the net.
I hear you. Let Lonzo go last. So far, you guys want a striker. I get it. But we're already complaining about our creativity and I don't know if that's going to get better. The one thing I will say on that one is that happened yesterday in a game that I noticed is we always saw this from Partey. He would always be ready to make that turn with the ball to take it up pitch. We don't do that much now. You don't see that much now. So progressing the ball up the pitch is doesn't happen as much, and I think that kind of hurts us in the attack. So we definitely miss him, but he'll be gone in January for hopefully a little bit of time. I'm hoping, will he be healthy before he goes? It will be one of those same things where he's not healthy, but all of a sudden he's gone to AFCON. You know, based on the fact that he went on international duty, came back, and could only give us whatever 20, 30 minutes, and then he's out again, I'd be hard pressed to let him go to AFCON. Just me. I know we can't really control that, but I think we need to look out for ourselves because we're getting punished by it every time. He's ready to go to AFCON, but he's never ready to play for his team that pays him. You know, Alonso, midfielder. You know, you can pick whichever one. I know creative midfield is probably more what we want, but I want, or a striker.
Yeah, you know, I think we need a quality striker, but I think we need to sell someone to make room for that striker, and that someone is Zinchenko. I put him in a package, right, to use him as a bait and then pay the rest of him in cash to do a swap deal plus cash. First one, because to me, like, yes, Zinchenko can play in midfield, but eventually he's not very good, right? So I'd use him plus money to get a striker because we need that desperately. And to me, I think that's the best way to go. To get someone off our books that isn't worth it, and get a player that can probably use their talent as far as scoring goals to better this team, because Nketiah is not an option. Neither is Jesus. So yeah, I go with striker.
Cool. I hear you.
I got a question for Alonso.
Oh, great.
No, it starts with somebody that you love, Mr. Kieran Gibbs. Today.
No, I don't love him because I haven't touched on it in a long time.
You loved him. Maybe he left you and you're upset now, but you loved him. I mean, yeah.
But anyway, today he was saying that Arsenal made a huge mistake by selling Xhaka for $22 million.
I do miss Xhaka because last 2 seasons, he was an impact, and he is also someone who protected the midfield or anyone who got messed with, and we could have used him yesterday, especially. But that's in the past now. Unfortunately, I don't think Havertz is going to be that project that Arteta was trying to fix. Because, in my opinion, Havertz is damaged goods. Because there's no repairing him right now.
I don't think there are any of the strikers and attacking players that Chelsea bought the last 3 or 4 years they're all damaged good. I don't think any of them are amount to anything.
They made them damaged goods, though.
Mm-hmm.
As you brought up a name,
did they do it, or did the Premier League do? Or I guess
I would say they did it.
I would say England did it because they're like, let's pick this guy from America.
All of their players, it has everything to do with England, nothing to do with the Chelsea setup, nothing to do with the coaching.
It's Chelsea's culture. Chelsea's culture is this win now culture, and there's no consistency, there's no loyalty. It's a mercenary club. I'll say it. I don't care if I get memed over it. Chelsea is a mercenary football club, and they've always been that way. And they've ruined players. They buy in. They look at all the people they bought since Todd Bowley's taken over. Forget the Roman Abramovich reign, but I mean, they buy all these players and they make no sense. It's like buying. It's like the Philadelphia Eagles a long time ago. Lonzo, I'm gonna bring this
Hey,
up.
that's hard now,
Bringing
man.
it up. Remember, you guys had Michael Vick and Vince Young was like, "This is a dream team," and that team was horrible. Gary knows the team I'm talking about. They brought in Dominic Rogers.
Oh, I won't forget. I won't forget.
I mean, it was all these superstar players that didn't mold together. So that's Chelsea Football Club in a life. They just go and, this who's Arsenal linked to, who's Man United linked to, will overpay 20% more than what that team was willing to pay for them. It's
all right. Yeah.
It's crazy how much we've seen that.
Yeah. I got AFC always. I think that's correct. Welcome to the show. We got Tayyib as well. Yeah, so you brought up her name, and I think that's where we are right now. We are missing Xhaka. All right, we've been asking for an upgrade on Xhaka for years, and then this is what we got. We would have rather. I think everybody would have rather kept Xhaka and improve on that position as well. We got rid of Xhaka for, I think, really cheap. And then we spent over and beyond what we needed to for a replacement, and we got nothing. I think he's not helping us, so I think we miss Xhaka. I don't know what you guys feel. I just I can't believe we're in a situation where Xhaka basically is the reason why we're struggling to some degree here. This is where we stand right now. I don't know what that was. What was that? Somebody turned on their audio there.
Hey, Gary.
Yes, sir.
I gotta go. I'll see you guys later.
All right, then. Yep, we'll see you later.
You guys have a good week. You guys have a good week.
I hope you're crying into your shirt in an hour. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. And if you see his shirt, you know why.
All right, guys. Well, take it easy. Have a good week. I'm gonna see you next time.
So thanks for coming on.
And go Eagles. Bye.
Yuck. Yeah, so that's where we stand. Cowboys will be
I
playing
can't
about
believe
an hour.
he disowned Kieran Gibbs. I don't know what happened.
You're giving up on him.
Investigate.
He left him. So yeah, we've got Chris is also joined us. Welcome to the show. This is a Let's Talk segment. I didn't know how long we're going to go, but anybody have anything else they want to talk about before we head out of here? In chat.
So right now we're on pace for 79.4 goals, which of course I don't give you decimals and goals, and we're on pace for giving up 45 goals against, which is 2 more than last year, which is 10 less scored, I think. So I'm just doing some math on that. Because I don't know if I really miss Granit Xhaka. I do, but I don't, if that makes sense.
Well,
I still say we got players that you can put in there. You got Smith Rowe, Zinchenko. There's plenty of them that you can put in there.
Yeah.
Don't know why I forgot to put my camera back on, but I'll be able to talking bubble.
All right. Yeah. You don't think we'll miss Xhaka. Sam, you think we'll miss Xhaka?
Why do we keep talking about that fucker? Honestly, can we just move on?
Because we haven't moved on from him. We just created another month.
We miss fucking Liam Brady.
Miss Thierry Henry. But can Henry still play for us?
I mean, come on. At some point, we just got to fucking move on.
All right, well, we got Havertz. So you happy?
No, I'm not happy with Havertz. But what are we going to do about it?
Yeah, it's not like we ran him out of the club. He decided that it was time for him to move on, and we honoured that request. We didn't chase him out of anywhere, and it was up to us to then. It was up to us then to go and fill that gap. It just turns out that the upgrade that we all wanted, it hasn't been done sufficiently, right? That's the problem. It's not like there weren't players out there that we could have spent that money on other than Kai Havertz, but that's the route the manager went. He could have spent the money on James Maddison if he wanted to.
Liverpool went and got the player I wanted to replace him, Szoboszlai.
Yeah, there's that guy there as well. There you go. So there's no point crying over spilt Shaka.
No, for sure. Yeah. All right, we're gonna start heading out. Let everybody have their say. I'm gonna say goodbye to you guys. This was hopefully we'll get to do this again. But yeah, I enjoyed having everybody on. Let you guys have your say. Thanks for those who joined us. I don't know when the next Let's Talk segment will come out, but hopefully soon. Let everybody have their say, and then we'll get out of here. So Tony.
For me, I've been wondering one thing today. If Villa won, we're sitting 5th. If we'd be having a little bit different discussions today. Because I, for one, still don't think we're going to make the top 4. Still believe we have a better chance in the Champions League, but Arteta will fuck that up somehow.
Okay. We're not going to... All right. Spencer. Last thoughts before we get out of here. You are muted.
Yeah, I still think we're going to make top 4. And it's just because of the teams around us. I mean, Liverpool just drew at Luton today. So, this is our first loss of the year. And I know that doesn't do any justice or whatever, and the fact that we have injuries is what makes it more concerning than the fact that we lost on Saturday. The fact that Smith Rowe is now unavailable. I mean, what a bright spot he was in 2021. Most of 2022 injured. I think that's somebody that I would have loved to seen, play more of a backup role, I guess, to Odegaard and the creativity in the midfield. The injuries are the most concerning part at this point. I do think this team will still kick on, but I don't know. Have faith, guys. It's one loss. I don't know. I mean, go get them this week. Got the big is it Sevilla on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. Go pick up your 9th point and then smash Burnley this weekend and keep it moving.
Cool. And before we have for those who are going to stay on and watch YouTube later, got Mr. Tom will be on. We all love Leeds. Will be on, so check him out. Sam, any last words
I think,
before we get out of here?
I think it's only our first loss, but again, it's you talk about your big thing is performance, right? And I agree. It's not just yes, it is a results business, but you look at the way we perform, and we could see this loss coming. We have struggled, in various games this season where our quality and our ability to play, the whole game through and create chances at the end of games has got us out of some sticky situations. We have a real good quality where we're basically fitter than most of the other teams we play. We can outrun them and we have a better endurance in the last 10 to 20 minutes of games, and we can play right into injury time, and we get a lot of benefit out of that, and that's really helped us a lot and may it continue to do so. It's still quite early in the season. We're not really even at Christmas yet, so there's a lot of Premier League football to go. I'm not writing us off yet. It felt harsh, bad yesterday, but I'm not writing us off yet because we see the teams around us are still dropping points. Tottenham will inevitably have that form turn. It's Tottenham. It's going to happen. So I do think we're still in with a shout. It depends on what Arteta does. He does need to start making some better decisions tactically and with the lineup. It also matters on what we do in January. We do need to bring in a player or two in January to bolster us and improve us for the rest of the season. So, we're depending on those two things really for the rest of the season. But we'll see how it goes. I think we're definitely going to be within one of the top 3 teams, in my opinion, at the end of the season, which is still a good result. One final thing, I just want to say that I can't see anyone mentioning anywhere, and it's baffling me. I still haven't seen a real, explanation anywhere about it. But why was Karl Hein, our third choice goalkeeper, on the bench yesterday as a second goalkeeper on the bench. We had 2 goalkeepers on the bench yesterday, and I don't get it. I know in the UEFA competitions it's a rule now. You have to, because you have the extended squad, so they want the extra goalkeeper. I understand that, but in the Premier League, that is not a requirement. None of the other teams. I went through all the other teams yesterday. Their substitute benches. None of them had 2 goalkeepers. I just can't see it mentioned anywhere why. But anyway, that's I suppose it's going to be one of those mysteries, So anyway, thanks for having me on. It's been great to see everyone in the chat. Have a great evening, everyone.
All right, cool. And Stan, last thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, I'm going to leave my last thoughts on the really poor level of officiating, not just in our games, but in a lot of other games as well. I'm really glad that Mikel Arteta spoke out yesterday. I saw 2 post-match press conferences with him, and his temper was the same in both of them. It was absolutely frothing, and I'm glad he spoke out. And he'll probably get some sort of discipline or fine for that. But my question is, why should he? Why should he be fined for having an opinion on the state of the officiating? It's not like he called them out, it's not like he called them all a bunch of wankers or anything like that. He just basically articulated as he sees the problem. And he'll probably get some sort of punishment for speaking out. And I think more people should speak out, because the level of officiating is just absolutely ruining the quality of the Premier League. You don't really seem to hear this happening in these, weekly things are happening in other leagues. Maybe it is, and I'm just not hearing it, but it just seems to be every week there's some sort of decision. And, I suppose they probably just photocopy their apologies now and then handwrite the team in, because there's so many apologies that they're handing out. It'd be a lot easier than having to craft one from scratch every week. So something's got to be done about it. And if these referees want to be under the spotlight so much, which it appears that they do, for some reason, rather than just being, running the game in the background and making sure it goes smoothly. It seems like they want to be in the spotlight. Then put them in the spotlight. After the game, put a microphone straight in their face and ask them about their decisions. Ask them to clarify why they decided to make some of the decisions that they've made. And maybe if that was happening to them and they were having to be accountable for themselves, they'd probably take a little bit more due care in the decisions that they made, because they know they're going to have to come out and explain it to everyone, and they'd probably be a little bit more attention to what it is that they're actually doing. Because it does seem it's either very slapdash, and these people seem to they're not up to the job, which means that they should be replaced, or there's some sort of corruption going on. It's one of the two. It's either inept ability to do your job properly, or you're on the fiddle, as far as I'm concerned. So I think that maybe they should disband the PGMOL, and get another body in that, is kind of like a watchdog, if you like. That's what's the word I'm looking for? Monitored and is accountable, because the PGMOL at the moment, they just seem to be like a third party contractor that's not doing a very good job at the minute.
Very, very true. Strong words there. Yeah. A lot of people are looking at Arteta's words and saying he's doing that to overshadow the poor play, and I don't think the play was any different than it's been all season. So I don't think he can repeat that if he wanted to. It'd be the same thing he'll be saying all season. I don't think we've been good much this season. I think we are a better team, but I think we haven't been playing anywhere near what we need to. Though, as you said, the officiating is not good, and until all the teams decide they want to speak up, it's going to keep happening. I know, this week it was Arsenal and some say Liverpool, and whatever team went in and got the short end of the stick. But as a whole, I think the football, I think if the teams actually stood up, like if they find Arteta and Arsenal doesn't back him, then they don't care. They just like doing it for show. Somebody's got I can hear a lot of noise back there, so I don't know who that is. But so yeah, I kind of feel like
giant microphone.
I think the teams need to stand up for this, and as you say, like PGMOL, I think, and VAR, they need to be separate entities. They can't be the same people marshalling themselves. Somebody, who do I mute?
Stan, try mute Stan.
All right, he muted himself. I don't know. There's a lot of movement going on there, but no, I just think there's a lot going on. I think until the football gets better, I think the subs should have been earlier. Once again, we say this every game. Arteta to make the subs earlier. I think we could have made subs at halftime to change this game up. I think we didn't do that. So it is what it is. I think we're still learning, and that's kind of what sucks about this thing. But we will head out of here. I say thank you guys for joining me with short notice. Arsenal Fan Circle, I believe, will be back next week. So Ray's out enjoying Disney World with the family, as he does. I think he does every year. So, safe returns for that. We'll be back next week for
We'll see if he
Arsenal Fan
brings
Circle.
Minnie Mouse back with him.
Yeah, see if that happens. Yeah. Also, tomorrow we'll have the trip on. So continue conversation. We'll see where we stand. We'll see. I guess we'll talk about the game at hand. If that team goes out there and if Chelsea shows up, we could be smiling once again, laughing at them, because we need some joy in our life. And the only thing that's going to give us some joy right now is if that team doesn't do the job that they've looked like they're going to do. So we'll see how that goes. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll be back and enjoy.
Life is a journey. Don't waste your trip. Enjoy the ride. There you go.